they're teaching you from a book. From a book, in real life, I promise you it's way different.
You went to college and you're going to come out and you're going to have a 100K job right out of college. Like, that's not reality. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Likewise, man. I'd like to introduce Chad. Chad is a longtime entrepreneur in the Baton Rouge area and certified pilot.
I'm a pilot, yes.
How long have you been flying for, Chad?
About 5 years. I've been flying for 5 years, and I enjoy every second of it. Best decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah, so Chad's actually flown me around a few times. He's an amazing pilot, guys. If you guys need a pilot, reach out to Chad. So, Chad, I wanted to invite him to the show today to talk about a topic that was really close to him. They really wanted to share, and the topic is the value of college in today's market. So, Chad, why did you want to talk about this topic?
Well, I get asked a lot from the younger generation. They'll see cars, they'll see nice things, watches, airplanes, things like that, and they'll ask, what it is that you do. They want to know because they're trying to figure out what to do. And I know when I was in college, I've graduated from college. When I was in college, I am not in my field that I graduated in. So I spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort to get this degree, and I'm not in that field. So that's why this is a important topic to me.
So in your opinion on the topic of college, who do you feel like should go to college and who do you feel like should not go to college?
Well, I feel there are certain circumstances, or certain majors. Like if you're in the medical field, obviously you don't need college for that. If you want to be an attorney, college, engineering, college. But I think there's a lot of stuff that is a waste of your time and your money going to college if you're looking at it from a strictly business standpoint, a financial standpoint.
So who do you believe should not go to college?
Well, one of the biggest things I see is stuff like business degrees, right? People that come and it's like, hey, look, I'm going to do business, so I'm going to go get a business degree. Well, a lot of times you're sitting in a classroom with professors in your major that have never ran their own business, have never had to balance budgets, have never had to figure out how to make payroll. They don't know any of that stuff. They're teaching you from a book, but from a book in real life, I promise you it's way different. When I hire people, a college degree is fine, but I want the experience. I want to know you've worked somewhere for 4 years or 5 years and you've had to figure out how to make things work, not just some, science from a book. I want to know. So if I have someone who's just graduating college and I have someone who's been in the field for 4 years, I'm hiring a person that's been in the field for 4 years.
Absolutely.
I need the experience. I need somebody who's seen stuff fail, who's seen, things succeed. I need that type of experience. I don't need to start at ground zero because that's where you're at ground zero when you graduate.
I would agree with you on the idea of if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and we're both entrepreneurs. I myself never went to college. I was able to build a multi-million-dollar business doing so. And I agree with you on the idea of, what are the ways as far as going to college and getting yourself in debt, all that debt, right? So, and end up not even needing it in the first place. Because nowadays, so I believe, 30, 40, 50 years ago, when you didn't have things like the internet, you didn't have Google, you didn't have ChatGPT, that can almost really answer most of the questions that you have as far as building a business.
Yes.
You didn't have those. So I'd say 30 years ago, maybe it was important. But now, in today's age, if you wanted to build a business, it's really, really more about just the will and the grit than an actual education behind it. Because if you have the willpower and the discipline and grit to build it, there's already so much information out there to help you do it.
Yes, there is. I mean, it's amazing what AI can do. And even before, because I feel like AI has really come on in the last 2 or 3 years, very strong. But even before that, a couple years before that, there's a lot of stuff that you could do off of, like you said, off of grit and will if you're trying to be an entrepreneur. If you're trying to be an entrepreneur, look, if you want to go to college, I'm not telling you not to go to college. I'm just letting you know that if you're trying to be an entrepreneur in the business world, it could be a bad bet. As far as the financial aspect of it, you could see, I mean, the average college costs $38,000 a year. in the US. That is expensive. I mean, you leave out of college, if you do a 4-year degree, you leave out of college with a debt like you purchased a house, you know? And in the you and I both know that using like having that credit history to where you can go and leverage your credit to purchase this property in real estate. You're in the real estate game. You understand how real estate builds well. If you have $150,000 worth of debt just leaving college, I mean, you're starting so far behind the 8 ball, and it's going to take you 15 to 20 years just to pay off that debt. And it's I think it's a bad bet if you're not in certain circumstances. It's a bad bet. I'm not saying for all circumstances, but for certain majors, I think it's a bad bet.
And I agree. Earlier, what you were saying about if you wanted to be a lawyer, right? If you wanted to be a doctor, certain things that require a degree, like absolutely go to college. It's worth it. Those pay very well. You'll get out of debt fairly soon. But hey, you want to go to start a business, to learn how to be an entrepreneur, to be a welder, things like that. Like you don't need to go to college for that. Like, hey, if you're gonna try to start your own electrical company, your own plumbing business, things of the sort, there's no need, or even a construction degree, right?
Right.
Like, hey, instead of investing those $100,000 that you're gonna invest into going to college degree, invest those $100,000 into actually purchasing a property, or to actually get going, flipping your first property. You know?
Or go work for someone who knows what they go work for Gus and learn real life, not from someone who's teaching it out of a book. I just think that is just that is the way to go if you're looking for that type of situation. Again, if you're looking to be a doctor or a nurse or something, a chiropractor, yes, absolutely, school. That's the way to do it. But if you're looking for these other fields that can be done without you getting to all this debt, and you think about it, you coming out of school at 21 years old with $100 and some thousand worth of debt with no income. That's a bad bet.
I absolutely agree. My One of the things I wanted to touch on as far as what if they get a full ride scholarship. So, for instance, like my daughters, I got they're athletes, and I'm trying to work really hard to them to get a full ride scholarship to college to play sports. What are your thoughts on that topic?
And I think it can go both ways. The scholarship can be great because it's paid, but also what you do lose is if you're not ready, right? If your kid is not ready and they don't know what they want to do, they can go to school and they can do 4 years and get that scholarship, but they lose 4 years of their that time of building and grinding and getting stuff started. But again, if you got a full ride, I mean, it could go either way. If you got a full ride, go to school. I'm not telling you not to go to school because there's life experiences you get in college,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely. I got a lot of life experiences in college, but there's a lot of life experiences you get when you're out here on your own. And if you're going to follow that entrepreneurial type situation, I think that, you know, instead of just jumping right into college, maybe seeing what's out there first. And I also think that it is very important that you don't go to college to figure out what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, take you a year off, take you a semester off, work, figure out what you want to do, because a lot of people there's so many people out there that go to college and they're not in their field, like me, not in their field, and you spend all this time and this money and I didn't figure out what I liked until I was a little bit older and what I wanted to do till I was a little bit older. And so either people go out there, they don't use their degree, or they're stuck in a field that they hate and it's just a job. And
Yeah.
you don't want to go through life
Well,
doing
another
this.
big plus too that I like the idea of going to college is one plus is the networking, right? You do get to meet. So especially if you get to go to a good college, right? If you get to go to a high end college, you get to network with other individuals that are probably trying like minded, or they want something similar to you. Whether it is a doctor or a lawyer or one of those fields, but even let's just say, like we were saying earlier, you don't know what you want to do with your life, and all of a sudden they do send you to college, and there's probably other kids in there too that don't know what to do with their life.
Right.
So if you see examples of a lot of college dropouts, like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, all these guys, they showed up, but Zuckerberg was able to create it from the networking that he made in college.
Yep.
So that is, in my opinion, that can be a plus.
That absolutely networking at the right college, and certain colleges have better your odds of networking with higher net worth individuals are a lot better than others. But definitely, I went to Southeastern and I met people in college that I still have relationships with today. So I'm not saying college is negative. I'm just saying beware of the debt that you're going to put yourself into and the time that you may lose depending on your circumstances on what you want to be or what you want to do when you leave college.
Yeah, and obviously just kind of like what you're saying, like setting the expectations, right? Like, hey, these are things that you to expect. Like, just think that because you went to college, that you're going to come out and you're going to have a 100K job right out of college. Like, those aren't real. That's not reality.
No.
So very important that when you're having this conversation with yourself and having these decisions, just know that that's not going to be the case.
That's not going to be the case.
You're going to have that debt, and you're going to have to start figuring out how to do it. And a lot of the times, your degree is really not going to help as much as you think. And I totally agree. There's going to be a lot of different careers that your degree is not going to help you at all.
Absolutely. I see some of the guys I went to college with did like kinesiology and different things like that. And I mean, I graduated college 18 years ago, 20 years ago. And I mean, these guys are still in, they're still making 50 grand a year, which nothing's wrong with 50 grand a year. But if you have the expectations of making six figures, deep into the six figures, you just got to be realistic on where you're going with your.
So Robert Kiyosaki talks about this a little bit. He says that in the book of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he says that C students always end up working for A students. Have you ever heard that?
So C students work for A students?
No, sorry. A students work for C students. You're right. I got it back.
Yeah,
My bad.
Yeah, the college or school grades have no correlation with the amount of money. Actually, it has a reverse correlation,
Yeah.
right? And that is true. I was an A student through 8th grade, and when I got to high school, I was a C student, and I was a C student through college because I understood that there was something else that needed to happen, and I didn't fit into the square peg, so I would definitely say that a lot of my friends who are wealthy entrepreneurs, they were not the best students. They were not the best.
Yeah, it's something about, because school is really more designed to teach you how to be a worker. Like they need employees, they need workers, people that can follow the rules, people that listen. And whenever entrepreneurs is a little bit more rebellious, you're like, hey, you know what? I'll figure it out myself. I can make this better. And it's kind of more the mindset of an entrepreneur where, you know what? I don't really like how this is working. So tentatively when they're in school, they're part of a system and they don't necessarily fit in or like it. And they're like, hey, I'm going to create my own system.
You have a bunch of rules, right?
Yeah. So, and you want to basically try to challenge the system itself. And that's exactly what you're doing as an entrepreneur. You're challenging a system itself. Say, I don't really like how these people do business. I'm going to do it my way because I feel like my way's better.
My way's better. And in society, that they reward you for that, right? You're rewarded with a successful business. In school, you have to do it one way. And in an entrepreneur's mind, or somebody who's growing to be one, there is no one way. There's multiple ways to do things, but in school, they want you to do it one way. And it's just, it was tough for me going through college because I just knew there was more out there.
Yeah, I agree. So great topic, guys. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to, like some final thoughts on the topic or something that you want to share before we end it.
Look, I think that we've covered everything that I think about the topic, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's awesome having you. Hopefully you can come back for another one day. Guys, welcome. I really want to thank Chad for being here. Y'all, please like and subscribe. We have some more coming your guys' ways, and thank you for being here.
No problem.